change is necessary. What is change? Change is the part of evolving with time. Things evolve with time. When a new decade starts, they evolve with technology. A lot of things happen in their lives. Human beings evolve with time, most of them. One of the things that make human beings evolve with time is that they move forward and they got lives to take care of, and they are too attached with personal lifestyle, and I think that's a good thing. And honestly, that's what I usually do nowadays. With change, technology changes, everything changes, TVs change, people change. But what happens if we don't move on and we don't evolve with time? You guys really need to hear this. If we can't grow up and move on, we are not entirely guided. We hold a massive grudge for nothing but to destroy our lives. This is not what we were supposed to be doing as human beings. Because why do we have to grudge? And there's a lot of people out there who grudge, even in this generation. Of course, we are not perfect human beings. But I think change is so necessary. But why hold a grudge for something that you obviously did? A couple of years ago, when I was a young person, very impressionable young person, going through all of this depressing emo life, I was not behaving correctly. I was going through a lot of very bad and shady times. 8 years ago, I lost like 15 friends over a choice to protect my friends and protect everybody from being hurt or being hacked. I wanted to get this advice that I was getting, but I didn't do it correctly. And the reason why is because I was so suicidal back then, and that is a genuine concern to most people, that suicide is not the answer. And I think that's very cold that I was so careless and not being well taken care of other people. And then suddenly I lash out, get really angry. I used to have a very violent history. Used to. As a person who has depression 10 years, I think this is something you gotta understand, guys. Every community I go, I do a lot of bad shit and go deeper into our rabbit holes. We create a pit, and then suddenly we get so darker. Apparently, I was a troubled teenager going through real life situations and not evolving with time, and that I couldn't let go. And it was so dull. I was very much becoming a very egotistical person. I had suicidal thoughts every day back then when I was a teenager. And that was destroying my livelihood. I was going frenzy. I was going berserk. And I think I don't want you guys to do like I did, because why would I? The problem is that even in this world we live in, people are always fair a lot, and they give you great advice. When I was a troubled teenager, I didn't get any great advice. Used to believe it was great advice until I realized I was listening to the wrong people, and I started becoming so protective over myself. And I was in a couple of servers or communities, and I got blackballed from almost half of them. And I got used to it pretty quickly and wanted to move forward. And then suddenly, I lost so many friends because of my behavior, my erratic, very, very bad behavior, very bad behavior. And then the new decade starts, and it starts to become really, really quiet and dark. It wasn't the kind of year, like 2020 was not the best year ever. And then suddenly I got what I wanted to come back into a community, but then I do it again, get in trouble like I always do. I was not picking for a fight until I realized I was playing the victim card, and I was going through all of that shit every few times. And after I got banned, I was going through like a nervous meltdown, and I wasn't really so certain if I was ever going to be a great person ever again, which is why I lost creative control. I couldn't figure out what to do, and I was a very bad person, but I started to evolve very quickly because I couldn't hold a grudge anymore. That's when I realized that I was making a very big mistake. And I was being stalked by other friends because, well, ex-friends or ex-mates because, here's the thing. I want to describe this because I was very shady and I wasn't really putting up with it, and I disabled comments, disabled ratings because I was going through like this paranoia, this thought that I could be blatantly criticized for doing my job and trying to move forward as all human beings should do. And then I realized something, that maybe I should change as a person. And when I lost my mentor, it became very clear that I was not the same person I was before. Because before this happened, I was grudging. I was not going through really good times. And I was going through like very repetitive behavior. I was going through like a lot of shit that I shouldn't be doing today. But thankfully that's over with. But I wanted to protect everybody, but then I turned into this grudging monster, and I had a very violent history, had a very nervous meltdown, outburst, anger. It's all angry, like outburst. It's all written there too. Used to break stuff, and then I didn't get my way, and then suddenly, at the end of the day, I was just a flawed human being. Used to be. But then when James passed away, my mentor, James Moulton, passed away, who is a great mentor, I started to become a new person. I became a new person because I wanted to be nice to other people, wanted to follow into the footsteps of other mentors, and I wasn't getting what I wanted before, but now I can evolve and get what I want. But guys, just listen to this. If we cannot evolve with time, if we are grudging so hard, if we get revenge, that's not who we are as a person. Instead, it makes you unhealthy. It makes you very dangerous. It makes you feel very murderous. It makes you feel even more guilty. And then suddenly, that's another thing I would have to learn as a person, is not to follow into the footsteps of a criminal. Because that's not what we want. Really, we don't want that. That is why I stick to my own rules. And I've sadly, since that time around, I never wanted to work with people ever again. But thankfully, I was still able to be friends with other people and in real life too. And even on social media for the right reasons. But, I think one day we're going to evolve with time. Even when new decades come, new era comes, and everything else seems to go over time or whatever. I mean, honestly, what else could be said? What's done is done. So anyway, one more time. If we can't evolve with time, we're not growing up. Because that's the thing you need to know. Don't hold grudges anymore. Ever. Don't hold grudges. But since I grow up, and that I turned like 22 years old 2 weeks ago, I was able to be in that position to be a motivational person and a mentor to those who I truly care about anyway. But yeah, that's it. Anyway, take care, guys, and reach me out on YouTube and see what your guys' thoughts are anyway. So just remember, you can be a new person. You can always change. You can always be a better person in life and have a future you can hold. Always, always, always. The future holds in what you know best. If you can't tell the future that far, just remember that you got this and you got your own dreams too. Don't shame it. Don't ruin it. Don't destroy it. Peace.